Yes, yes. Welcome. It's Balloon Party 101 ESPN. It's driven by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota. My name is Timothy Michael McKernan. That's Jackson Bennett Burkett. Jackson, we have 56 minutes left in this show. Let's make every single one of them count, brother. What are you going to do today to engage this audience on YouTube and 101 ESPN, the 101 ESPN app?
I'm going to wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm going to give you my unfiltered opinion while also respecting dissenting opinions.
Oh, you're going to be curious and not judgmental.
That's right. And I think more so than anything else, I'm going to be cute.
Wow. Well, color me engaged. Well, I guess we're going to focus on the start time for the Sixers and Knicks.
God. 9 p.m.
I wanted
Eastern.
to set them off. Yep.
9 p.m. Eastern.
Now, why are you saying Eastern? I mean, we're St. Louisans, and we love our town. I mean, Eastern, that might affect people in New York or Washington, D.C. or Miami or Boston. But here in St. Louis, we're Central Time Zone, so it's an 8 o'clock tip.
Absolutely, which is also too late. But the game, of course, being played in Philadelphia, and the opposing team plays in Manhattan. So both of those are Eastern Time Zones. And you might wonder,
what's that all about?
They have the Bucks and Pacers at 5 or 6:30 Eastern. So because TNT has both games, they can't put it on, of course, at the same time. And 9 o'clock Eastern is more prime time than 6:30 Eastern because of the West Coast, I guess. But it seems so silly to me, Tim. It seems silly to me, and I want to hold somebody accountable, but I don't know who. Silver, I guess.
I just want to read the text complaining about the start time of the game. That's all I'm doing here.
I really love this series.
Puppet master.
It's been such a great series. It's a great
NBA
rivalry.
acknowledged they missed the call on Maxey Steps.
Yeah, they did. But, I don't. Listen, he's still got to make the shot. Either way, it's annoying. And it's a greater scheme thing. Like, they start times of the NCAA tournament championship game is way too late. They have times where the NCAA football championship is on way too late. The Super Bowl starts at 5:30 Central, and that seems to get some good viewership. Now, obviously, that's going to be an outlier, not the standard. But we got to figure out prime time. What is prime time for everybody?
I like this conversation, actually.
What is prime time for everybody? Like, I get that West Coast, it would be 6 p.m. there, and people are not getting home from their jobs until 5:30, and they want to include everybody. But, 9 p.m., it's not going to end until midnight in Philly. And people got to go to work the next day. So we're just completely saying, sorry, you're out. And way more TVs per household are going to be on the East Coast and West. I don't get it. We just got to, somehow we got to figure out a standard prime time slot. Because 9 p.m. Eastern ain't it. 8:30 Eastern is still not great. Better. And if we're going to do it, start on time. Tip off at 9 o'clock. Drop the puck at 9 o'clock. Don't tell me 8:30 and drop the puck at 8:45.
I've never heard you angrier in my life.
I just wish we could nail down what prime time is. Because you know what? The people are paying for it.
Oh, my gosh. You just took the stance of the people and not the corporations and the money.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at this.
Kids,
is this a face turn?
I'm looking out for young Knicks fans, young Sixers fans, and young sports fans around the country that are
But you started with New York and Philadelphia people.
Well, those are going to be the ones most affected by tonight's game.
What about hardworking Battlehawks fans?
Hardworking Battlehawks fans.
Thank you.
Hardworking Memphis Redbirds fans. I want all of them.
You're down in Memphis now.
I want all of them to be able to enjoy the game. They're going to be putting their kids in bed by the time the game tips off. There's young basketball fans out there everywhere who are excited to watch this game, and they won't be able to because they're going to have to go to bed. They're going to have to watch it again in the morning, and it sucks. It sucks. It's terrible.
Here we go. People who care about the NBA probably do not have jobs, therefore it doesn't matter.
Oh, okay. Little hockey fans have,
Oh, my goodness. It's good. Let me tell you something. This thing's now off the tracks. This thing's off the track. There's two things that upset Jackson Burkett, and only two things. And that's older St. Louisans criticizing the NBA and people who spell Mike Schultz's last name with a C. Other than that, he is a lover of all people.
It's true. It's true.
So when you write in, people who care about the NBA probably don't have jobs, therefore it doesn't matter. You've just poked the beehive, and may Yahweh have mercy on your soul, because you're about to experience the wrath of Jackson Burkett, brother.
Yeah, it sounds like a C-SPAN broadcast in November of 2012. Regardless.
I don't even know what that meant, but I like it.
Well, I was saying, voting.
It's like when I would watch a Dennis Miller monologue. I didn't catch like 90% of the references, but I'd giggle.
Yeah, I'll throw it to you in the break, and I'll tell you. But regardless, it's tired. It's tired. We get it. You don't like the NBA. There are reasons, but I won't. Whatever.
Every time I tune into this station, in this time slot, they're talking about a sport that's not played here and that no one cares about. My God, know your audience. It's from the 636, Jackson.
Last time I checked, this was a sports station that, matter of fact, plays NBA games on it regularly.
That's your opinion.
And it's also the second most popular sport in this country. Miles more popular than a certain winter sport that we talk about a lot. And I'm not judging us for talking about it.
I think Tommy Madden's going to walk in the middle of the segment and pull your ass out of here.
I'm not saying that we talk too much about it. Hockey is an important sport, and it's played here, and people love it, and I'm very happy for it. It does great things for the city.
How about what the Stars did? Down 2-0 and now 3-2.
What up, VGK? But it's a sports station. And last time I checked, basketball is a sport. A very popular sport, matter of fact.
Hockey fans have better beards than those pubes hanging from your chin?
That's facts. I won't. You're not gonna catch me disagreeing there.
That's from Chunk and the Chunk.
Yeah, no, you're right on with that one, Chunk.
Well, that shows that you're willing to give.
Oh, I'll concede on certain things. I will concede. I'm not blind like some. I'm trying to shepherd those who cannot see.
Someone physically remove this child's mic. Thanks. It's from the 618.
Whatever. Someone's got to push these buttons, brother.
That's right. Unfortunately, Jackson's co-host is incapable. Jackson, what is today's series of questions called?
It's the talented Mr. Piddles.
Oh my God, he's doubling down.
The talented Mr. Piddles. Now, that might sound like a self-referendum and that I'm really, pumping my own tires. It is, in fact, a reference to the 1999 film, The Talented Mr. Ripley.
Which, according to goodorbad.com, is good.
And I miss Philip Seymour Hoffman every single day.
Do you really? Do you really miss him every day?
I was watching Moneyball a couple days ago, and him as Art Howe is just outstanding.
I got to tell you, I agree with that take.
He's so good. Philip Seymour Hoffman is the greatest, man. Oh, my God.
Pack your bags. It's your last day, kid. That's from the 314.
Was that from my boss? Oh, no, it wasn't. Kick rocks.
I don't know. I don't recognize the phone number. I only know a handful of phone numbers at this point. It could have been from Tommy.
If that's
Madden.
the case, then I retract everything I said.
Jackson is now retracting his statement.
Sorry, I was watching too much hockey last night. I didn't get any sleep.
Nice. I mean, how about the Stars?
Yeah, 1 versus 8 seed. VGK says, I don't care. I'm going to come play.
Well, they've lost 3 in a row.
Yeah, either the same, but they're still there. The fact that the series is still going on.
You thought they'd be vanquished in 5 or less?
4, yeah.
Is that right? You had a sweep in the office pool?
Dallas is really good, aren't they? They're really good.
Right.
Well, that's kind of where it's at.
VGK was up 2-0 going back to Las Vegas.
That's just, hey, listen, that's why it's not about the X's and O's. It's about the Jimmies and the Joes.
Nice. You can never go wrong with a cliche.
Yeah.
When backed into a corner, cliche it and hope for the best. And hope that your host can't manage a clock and is late for a break. And in this case, you're usually going to be right. Let's see. NBA fans do have jobs. Most of the fast food places now close at 9, so it works out perfectly for the NBA fan working the drive-thru to see the opening tip. That's from the 618. Oh, my goodness. I mean, they are coming.
Yep.
How are you able to blow off all of the hell we catch, but this one thing? This is the only weakness in that armor that you have built up at a young 26 years of age. That and the Mike Schultz spelling.
I think it frustrates me because I think it's part of what holds us back as a city, but whatever.
Oh, wow. Jackson with a macro perspective here.
Yeah, and I know most of these people, well, at least I hope, at least that's how I rationalize and get some sleep at night, are kind of playing into it, and that's fine. God bless them. But I think there is a serious issue around there, and I think a part of it relates to it. So regardless.
Look at that. Well, I guess that's why we have the talented Mr. Piddles today. And your questions, your comments, your thoughts are always welcome. They're solicited on this program at 314-399-9646. And then the YouTube chat, which is active as the day is long. Already 110 people in there talking it over, including John Scores, Tiny PP, MD 2020. Is that like Mad Dog? I like that.
Electric Melon.
Yeah, strong. Were you a Purple Passion guy?
Oh, always Electric Melon. And it always ended up with me being on the Vomit Comet.
Preston S1, Dallas Myers says, I like basketball.
Cool. God bless.
Nathan
Appreciate it.
Rogers, and Droid Effects, of course, along with Connor, who says, Jackson, take your shirt off. That's up to you. I mean, it's up to you.
I don't know if the cameras have the white balance to handle this much pale. So
Is it really pasty right now?
yeah,
that's
I have a golfer tan, the below the shirt sleeve, it's not bad, but take the shirt off. Yeah, you're going to see something.
Sounds like a tease. All right, well, we'll see what comes up in the next segment with the talented Mr. Piddles. It's coming your way on Balloon Party 101 ESPN. Welcome back, Balloon Party 101 ESPN. Tim McKernan, Jackson Burkett with you. Get in that 101 ESPN YouTube channel and talk it over because Tiny PP and A.J. Brown of the Eagles are talking it over as well. So is Eric Nickens. So is Droid Effects. So is Jake Reynolds.
Hey, Jake.
He's a TMA guy.
Good
Philip
guy.
Gallagher. What do you think's happened? More TMA people have come to 101 or more 101 people have gone to TMA? Thoughts?
TMA coming to 101.
Think so. Mm-hmm. You got the numbers there?
I don't. I have no raw data on that.
But you just feel confident with your sixth sense.
Yeah.
Haley Joel Osment?
Yeah, great. Love that.
Wow.
I love that.
Goodorbad.com. Big endorsement there. Jackson, it's today's series of question, which is called what?
The Talented Mr. Piddles.
A tribute to a film celebrating its 25th anniversary, The Talented Mr. Ripley.
Yeah.
Matt Damon, Jude Law.
Yeah, Gwyneth Paltrow, Kate Blanchett, Philip Seymour Hoffman, aforementioned. And I guess there's a Netflix show called Ripley, which is based on the same source material.
Nice.
I want to check it out. Andrew Scott. Apparently everyone says it's really good.
I want to watch the Bon Jovi documentary on Hulu.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not, you know me, I'm not a big documentary guy.
That's so surprising to me, actually.
I think some are just outstanding.
What's your favorite documentary?
The OJ Made in America one is like as good as it gets.
I think a lot of people would agree with you. That's a unifying topic after you just torched the audience in the first segment.
Made in America, the OJ one is some of the best sports journalism ever conducted.
How about that?
Like that's really, really good.
A little bit of a shot at TMA, but fine.
Second only to your podcast with Riz. The Tim McKernan show where one of the mics wasn't on. That was the best one.
That was an unfortunate incident. Hey, I'd love to hear these two guys together. Well, you'll hear one of them, and then you'll hear one off in the distance because his mic isn't on. Yeah, that was top-notch. But I think we won an award for that. Hey, there goes Riz walking by right now.
Turn on the mic.
There goes him now. Jackson, let's take a listen to what our first question is for the talented Mr. Piddles on Thursday, May 2nd, 2024 in St. Louis.
Sure, Tim. Cardinals lose yesterday in what seemed to be a let's get the hell out of Detroit quickly type attitude, if we're being honest. The sole interesting moment took about 25 seconds to come and go on Contreras' dead center blast. Outside of that, it was hanging curves and choppers to first. Yawn. In your memory, can you remember a team that lacked pizzazz or entertainment factor like this one? Can you blame fans for their apathetic or even angry attitude towards the ball club? And what percentage do you put that the team will again become fun?
Well, those are a nice series of questions for this talented Mr. Piddles. This is not fair to you, and you might not have it, but every time I've asked, I feel like in the 29 months. 29 months of Balloon Party. You've delivered the Cats interview on Bailey's Midwest with John Mozeliak. Before I answer these questions, I feel like this is a perfect opportunity. Was this played yesterday? Or did he do this? Yeah, I think it was yesterday, right? Because he was talking about Goldschmidt's big day on the doubleheader.
Right.
Okay, here you go. Take a listen.
So we're 30 games into the season. You've seen some good and some not so good from your ball club. John, tell us what your thoughts are on the way things have gone to this point.
Well, I think, the season began, tough road trips, but overall feel pretty good about where the club is. Obviously, from an offensive standpoint, we want to figure out a way to be able to score more runs, put some points on the board. But, you think about our starting pitching and what we've been able to see out of that and the bullpen. We're pretty excited about where we are given the injuries that we've had. And obviously getting somebody like Dylan Carlson back will be a boost for this club. And so hopefully by the end of the week or sometime early next week, we'll see him.
Offensively, Goldie having a big game yesterday, obviously a good sign. But you still have guys who you've seen hit before, you believe will hit again, not having great seasons. How frustrating is that?
Not that frustrating to me. I mean, there's always ebb and flows of a season, and sometimes guys get off to hot starts and then cool off. Sometimes guys get off to slow starts and then get hot. I mean, in the end, you typically produce the types of numbers that you find on the back of your baseball card. So I still feel like we are encouraged at where we're going and where we're going to be. And, obviously our division's very competitive, but we're right in there.
So I'm sure many of you listening to that are not enjoying it. Many of you didn't enjoy points on the board. But here is something that was texted into TMA this morning that I thought I want to make sure I share with the 101 ESPN audience when we do Balloon Party today. There was a listener who used to live in Chicago, and during his time there, the Cubs weren't the 2016 Cubs. And it's not like the White Sox were killing it. I know the White Sox had 2005, but overall that hasn't exactly been magical.
No.
And he said, when I would listen to the heads of organizations in Chicago, like the White Sox and Cubs, and their managers, it sounds exactly how Mozeliak's talking now. No answers in the short term, but hopeful spin. Because I listened to this, and I can't believe the answers I'm hearing. Now, I don't want him to go, yeah, Goldschmidt's garbage. I think he's too old. We're probably, glad we didn't sign him to an extension. I know that's not realistic. But it's so disingenuous, and there's just no way he really believes this. And I think you can be transparent with your audience / fan base without being blatantly whatever that was. I don't even know what that was.
Almost
It kind of takes me back to Baghdad Bob in 2003, where you're just going, why are you doing this? And so Doug Vaughn, who I've worked with forever on TMA, 17 years, he goes, yeah, but when do you really hear a coach or manager or front office member be critical of his team? I go, well, Doug Armstrong kind of, he wasn't necessarily ripping the team so much as he just kind of said, hey, this is where it is. I mean, there's I don't know if there is a soul, and to make an absolute statement, that's not necessarily what I usually do, but a soul who would consider themselves a Cardinal fan who would answer that question the way he did with, yeah, pretty pleased with where we are. I mean, are you kidding? How in the hell can you be pretty pleased with where you are? I guess it's like in the context of the schedule was tough. I mean, if you think the Detroit Tigers are going to be there when it's all said and done, God bless.
Yeah.
I'll fire a prop bet. But, they've also played some butt asses here. Now, to start the season, it was tough, or at least theoretically it was supposed to be. Padres aren't exactly killing it. And that's the thing that I think, if you're on the national side of things, you go, why are people in St. Louis Cardinal fans are so spoiled? And I do think there is and was truth to that. But I think what actually aggravates fans more than the team's performance is the attempt to shift from the obvious by members of the organization that insults the fan base's intelligence. All while people are either feeling like they're spending too much money to go to games that don't provide entertainment, which speaks to your question, and that the team isn't entertaining, and or they would like to watch games, but because of, as we just saw yesterday with the announcement that Comcast could not come to a deal with Bally's, and so now if you live in a large portion of Illinois, I know if you live in the St. Louis specific area, you're not a Comcast customer, but in Illinois, there are a lot of Comcast customers. They can't get Bally's now. So I think fans feel like they're having their love for the game, their love for the franchise, and their loyalty to this team tested. And so when you have the president of baseball operations say, yeah, we're pretty pleased, you just go, what are we doing? You just, please don't BS me. I understand you can't have a 100-win team every year. And I know some might expect it and, do the whole thing. But overall, I think for the most part, people understand that. But God, I really just don't get the strategy. I don't get the strategy. And I'm not saying it for effect. You and I could be sitting in a bar and I'd be saying the exact same thing because people ask me this as if I know. I don't know. I'm just telling you, I'm listening to the same stuff you are. I'm confused by it. And, a team not being very good. I mean, what was I saying all offseason? Do you remember what I was saying all offseason? It was like my campaign speech when you were asking about the Cardinals offseason moves.
You understand why they're doing it and not hamstringing themselves with long-term contracts, but you also don't think that they're going to be a World Series contender with this roster.
That's correct. That's it. So this is kind of within the range of what I thought they would be. But for the love of God, I just don't get it. It's like, at winter warm-up, somebody was being critical with Mozeliak, and I know I've cited this, but it was my Teddy KGB Oreo Rounders reference moment. I'm like, oh no, they're really concerned. Somebody asked him about the pitching or the hitting or something, and he goes, yeah, but are you excited about Yachty being back? And I'm like, Yachty ain't going to be back. There's no way in hell Yachty's going to be back. Unless you make him manager, he ain't going to be back, because I know you're not going to make him bench coach because nobody wants to have Yachty or Molina theoretically below them on the chain of command, but in reality, having more power than the chairman of the organization.
Right.
So How many times you seen Yadier Molina this year? In Jupetown or here, or on the road for that matter? Was he around Motown the last 3 days?
Come to think of it, I don't think I've seen him at all.
Right. The Marmol extension. I mean, it's just like, let's do a bunch of things to piss people off. That's what it is. I just don't get it. Let's say things to piss people off. I really don't get it. And honestly, when it comes to sports, I just don't get really that worked up about too much, I guess, about the games, because in reality, even if guys aren't necessarily playing to win, they're playing to make money. So people usually are trying. So it's the business of sports that tends to get me a little more riled up. And for the life of me, the reason I got into this business was because of the Cardinals. I didn't hate the Blues. I just loved the Cardinals. And then I came to love the Blues and the Steamers, for that matter, because I was growing up in the 1980s, and the football Cardinals. But I don't know what the hell is going on with this organization right now. That not only, it's one thing if you can't win. I get it. They didn't win in 2007. They didn't win in 2003. They didn't win in 2008. They didn't win in 2010. They didn't win in 16, 17, or 18. But I think it's the way the organization is communicating with the fans and the frustration about that has it at peak either apathy or anger. And I hear these things and I go, what are you doing? Like, there's no way that you could possibly tell me, yeah, this is pretty good. It's not possible. It's bad. Yeah. If anything, I think it's like they're fortunate to be in the spot that they're in. And it's just so disingenuous to say otherwise. So when people say, it's Jeremy Rutherford's column this morning, his mailbag on The Athletic, why isn't Doug Armstrong? And people say, yeah, he got booed. And JR, to his credit, goes, well, he got booed, but it was right after he fired Berube. It wasn't like in the final home game, right. So we got to put context in it. But I think people appreciate, even if a team is going through a rebuild or a transition, if somebody goes, yeah, we're not there with the Braves or Dodgers, like Armstrong said regarding the Central with the Stars and the Avalanche. But we think with this and this, it can happen. And either way, we have a plan to get back to where we recently were, as opposed to a team that was fortunate, I mean super fortunate, to not get swept by the Detroit Tigers, who I realize are above 500. But just like the Pittsburgh Pirates, I don't think they'll be there when it's all said and done, even though they were above 500 for a time. And they screw around and score, 2 runs in the one game? They lost with 6 in the doubleheader, and then they lost with 1 yesterday. And no team in the National League has fewer runs than this team. And you're telling me that's okay? Right. And you're pretty pleased with it? And yeah, Sonny Gray's dealing and Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson have been good. But God almighty, for the life of me, I'm confused by it. I mean, I really am. I'm more confused than I am angry. I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's where I am. You know what I am, Jackson? I'm exasperated.
And I feel you. I think that clip that we just played right there from Mozeliak is an example of reckless optimism bordering on premeditated inauthenticity.
Wow. I think you just won the listeners back.
Thank you. I think that he would have said that no matter. And by the way, based on that clip, you would think he's not watching the games, because that kind of statement right there seems like something that he would have written out in February to say when things aren't going right come early May. Because clearly there's nothing about this team that makes you think, yeah, I'm not really frustrated at all. How can you watch that and be not be frustrated when you have guys who are MVPs 2 years ago who look like a little leaguer at the plate sometimes? And Nolan Arenado can't get the power. You have to send down your superstar prospect who is first full year up in Major League Baseball. You have to send him down before May. How could you be not frustrated by that? And I think that's kind of what you're getting at. And it's not like Mozeliak is dumb. We know he's an intelligent human. So when you say stuff like that and you're intelligent, it makes people think you're being disingenuous. And maybe you are, maybe you aren't, but the perception is disingenuous.
I think if you surveyed Cardinal fans and asked, are you good with where the team is? They're 3 games under 500, but it doesn't feel like it's a team that's ready to break through. No. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So
it feels like it's going to get worse.
They're 5.5 back. And hey, can it? Yeah, because there's talent offensively on the roster. Lynn and Gibson are probably more prone to a regression than an improvement. I think Sonny Gray, assuming he stays healthy, you got yourself a hell of a starter every 5 days. Mm-hmm. But what do you do with the other spots in the rotation? And what do you do with an offense that has put up, in a total of 32 games, 109 runs, or 31 games, 109 runs?
Yeah. And so much of that is coming off sack flies, ground outs, catcher interference, walking guys home. It's not like they're ripping frozen ropes to the gap or hitting home runs. They don't do that. And so when you're trying to get more and more fans to keep watching while your media deal seems to be crumbling by the minute, you're not going to get that if you can't put up runs, and especially can't put up runs with power and speed. They got none of that.
No team in the National League scored fewer than 109 runs, and only 2 teams in baseball have scored fewer than 100 runs, also 109 runs. And that is the White Sox, 6-25. They crumbled again after that 3-game winning streak. And the Oakland A's, who, by the way, are hunting my overbet, 57.5.
Well, lucky enough.
I might tell my guy to wire that money over now.
The boys from the
they
South
have
Side.
98. Yeah, I mean, what a showcase we're going to have here. Slugfest this weekend between the White Sox and their 89 runs and the Cardinals and their 109 runs. Sweet mother of mercy. I mean, we took that poll earlier in the week.
Yeah.
What's going to have more attendance?
Oh, yeah.
The Cardinals and White Sox afternoon game or the Battlehawks and Houston afternoon game?
Yeah.
They're going on at about the same time. I mean, the weather's going to be great.
Yeah, it might be a no-sweat Battlehawk call. It might be a no-sweat.
It's sunny, 60 degrees for the low, which will be overnight, and 83 degrees.
You can't ask for better baseball weather.
Yeah, I'd
That's
go
like-
there and have some libations and sit there and, hang out. But I think you're going to have more people at a UFL game down the street.
Yeah. Well, I'll be there Friday night, Tim, and I planned on finding some people, finding some chests, and putting a finger in them.
Oh, really? Stephen Wildwood will be thrilled that you're finally doing that.
I'm going to go right to the clubhouse, and we'll go one by one. Like Nate and Ted Lasso.
That's what you're going to be doing.
Yep. Yeah, and then,
Look at you.
And then Goldie will rip the bench out from under him, and then they're going to start playing.
My goodness.
And I'll take a World Series
when
ring.
this team wins the 2024 World Series, Jackson gets a ring.
It's a slender finger, so cut it down a little.
All right, we'll close out the second segment here. 10:35 time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers. This program is brought to you by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota. It's Balloon Party on 101 ESPN.
This is Action Jackson with a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cardinals lose yesterday at the hands of the Tigers. Final score of 4-1 in favor of Detroit. Cardinals have an off day today, and then they're back at home as the Chicago White Sox come to town. That will be on Friday. First pitch at 7:10. Sonny Gray will be on the mound for your Redbirds. And last night in the NBA, the Celtics defeat the Heat 118-84 to eliminate the Heat from the playoffs and move on to the next round. The Celtics await the winner of the Magic and Cavaliers series in the second round. That was another Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Welcome back, Balloon Party 101 ESPN. My name's Tim McKernan. That's Jackson Burkett. Jackson in the YouTube chat. Hold on a second. A.J. Brown is really active.
Boy, he's got a nice set of hands on him.
He does. What are these jackasses saying today? That's from Plight of a Man?
Kids, you noticing all this plate?
I like that. Plight of a Man. Buck Hogg's in there talking if you want to talk to him. It's the 101 ESPN YouTube channel. And my Cardinal cap is popular. Although this really isn't a Cardinal cap.
It's a U-High hat, isn't it?
It's the.
Yeah. Sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry to all my junior bills out there.
Thank you. Yeah, Jackson's worked up. I'm worked up. The people are worked up, but that's fine. Let's be worked up together. It's hot. I like that. It's like a steam room in here. Jackson, what's your next question on the Little Piddles, talented Mr. Piddles Thursday shoot 'em up?
Kind of alluded to it in the last segment, but the Bally's and Comcast deals fell through.
Oh, we're not going to calm down, are we?
Nope.
Now you're going to really get me. What, are you going to bring up the red caps on the road next?
I could. Fourth segment, I have something that's a little bit more what they call easy listening.
Like the squirrel and the water skis in the newscast.
Yeah, I got
we just
one.
told you about murders throughout the region. But look, here's a cute little squirrel on water skis. Enjoy your evening. Family Feud's next.
Yep, that's what I got for the fourth segment. For this one, unfortunately, we're going to have to kind of play in the muck because Comcast and Bally's deal has fallen through, and just another chapter has been added on to the book of chaos that has been the Cardinals TV deal over the past 5 years.
You didn't even ask a question because you know you don't need to.
Nope.
You just wind them up. Wind them up and let them go is what you said.
You light a match and then the string goes and then.
I don't know if you and I said this in a commercial break on this show or before we were doing QFTA or maybe the Tim McKernan Show podcast.
Yeah, I think it was that.
And I just asked this question, and it's a rhetorical question for us all. This is a piece of Zen right now. How lovely would it be if you could just turn on your television and watch the Cardinals and Blues and not really think twice, not close out apps, open up apps, and, the 50% chance that the Bailey's app works. But alas, it's 2024, and technology is, of course, in a regression.
Yeah, I mean, I can literally fire up Casablanca on my phone in T-minus 18 seconds. Yet trying to watch a Cardinal game, I got to have an encryption key, and I got to know 6 different passwords, and God forbid the app works every time. It sure doesn't. Yeah, to me, it's like if you can nail down the streaming, you would eliminate so many issues. If you could just nail down Major League Baseball streaming, it's not just a Cardinal problem, it's a Major League Baseball problem with their streaming rights and everything. That is a major issue because I have my friends. I could poll 100 of my friends and say...
You have 100 friends, all right?
At least.
Look at you.
Yeah.
A man with 100 friends is a man who's never alone in this world.
Yeah, I never do feel alone. I always feel...
Who's your closest friend, Herb?
You start ranking friends and then people get left out.
Okay, fine. Mount Rushmore of friends.
My buddy Big Mark. He's been my long time.
Loves Ann Edwards.
Best of friends. Sweet Kai.
Yeah.
He's always been my guy.
Cape Cod fisherman.
Private Citizen Pete.
Right.
Been there by my side for a long time. And then Khan. My buddy Khan tied. He's right up there with my buddy Oatmeal.
Oh, so there's 3, and then there's 2 guys tied for the
Frog Dad.
the Teddy Roosevelt spot on the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, the Frog Dad's right up there too. I just got that's the
3
thing.
guys. Now it seems like we're just starting to.
But that's the thing. I can't even name 4.
I said Mount Rushmore. I'm sorry. Mount Rushmore has 4. I can't let Oatmeal in.
Well, then I retract everything.
Jackson is now withdrawing you. None of you are his friends.
There we go.
This is from The Athletic this morning. Kenny Rosenthal, friend of the show. After this offseason's last-minute bullet dodge by Diamond/Bailey Sports, we always knew the other shoe would drop. We just weren't sure when. Would Bailey's TV home of 12 MLB teams and 26 NBA/NHL teams avoid bankruptcy, or would the world of RSNs devolve into chaos? What we didn't expect, such a massive development on May 1st. Comcast, one of 3 major cable providers that hosts Bally's, removed the channel from their services due to a dispute between the 2 companies. Comcast wanted to put Bally's on a higher premium tier and released a statement blaming Bally's and insisting they had made reasonable efforts to negotiate with Comcast at numbers similar to their deals with Charter and DirecTV. For 7 teams, including the Twins, there is no option. I want to repeat that. No option for a direct consumer streaming service from Bally's, meaning a large percentage of the team's regional fan base has literally no way to watch the games legally. Evan Drellich had all the details here, and another story about how the proceedings impact the league's plan for blackout-free streaming service. We asked Evan a few questions for our wind-up readers, which we'll have coming up. That is from The Athletic. Here are the details that are made reference to. It is a spot now where the Twins estimate that they are only able to reach approximately 1/7.
Oh, my God.
Their fan base.
Oh, my God. The sport is in a nosedive, and you can only reach 1/7 of your fan base.
Of course, we have the dueling statements here. MLB declined comments. The Cardinals and Twins both put out statements that said they have, quote, no voice in the matter. I got to tell you, I do understand. This is not like, I mean, for as much as you may be upset with the Cardinals about this, is not their call.
Right.
Bill DeWitt cannot make this happen. But man, I'm telling you, it's one of those things. You want to win people back, actually, even though you know you got a baseball team that might not necessarily be battling the Dodgers in the NLCS or the Braves. You know what? I know we're struggling, and the fact that many of you can't watch our games only adds insult to injury. And so our top priority, of course, is to get this team back on track. And we have faith that we're going to be able to do that. We still believe in this roster. But I will not rest until I work with baseball and our television providers to make sure that every fan has an opportunity to watch a game if they want to watch a game. That is my promise to the fan base. Oh, my goodness, approval rating.
Yeah, and it could even be an empty promise. Like, you could just say that, and that's fine. Like, that, at least that would get some juice back going. Oh, my God.
Well, you're exasperated now.
It's the streaming thing that just is, it boggles the mind. Boggles.
Boggles is what you're looking for.
Certainly doesn't bottle it. My mind remains uncapped. But
Comcast has 13.6 million subscribers, for the record.
oh, yeah, that's nothing. Yeah, just completely oust them from watching baseball. Man, oh, man. When your sport is not doing great, a bad strategy is make it harder to access. I think maybe those two go hand in hand. One of the reasons baseball isn't doing as well as it used to is because it's harder and harder to see the games.
Follow the streaming path the MLS has gone down. That's from the 3 and 4. Now, if I just operated in like the vacuum of that comment, I'd be like, I couldn't agree more. I love that no matter where I am, whether I be in St. Louis, in cities playing at City Park, or I'm away, I can just open up the Apple TV app and immediately watch them play. I love that. I love that. Here is the issue with that, though, and I'm not insulting the text because I think a lot of people probably go, yeah, why can't they just do that? This is it. I'm going to try to simplify it as much as possible, but it's important to keep hammering this point home. The Cardinals generated, or expected to generate, actually more than $60 million this year. Last year, I think it was right around $60 million. $60 million. Let's give some context to that. How much money did the Cardinals spend on Sonny Gray, Lance Lynn, and Kyle Gibson this offseason, if you add it all up?
Well, for this season, only $30 million, but Gray makes more than that down the road. It's a back.
Going to AAV and add it up.
It would be like 35, 40 million, wouldn't it? Gray signed.
I think it's more than that. Anyway, the point, I'm trying to get people to not go, okay, $60 million, these guys are billionaires, who cares? Look at it through the lens of costs of doing business.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like 60 million is just 60 million. Okay, they're billionaires. I don't care. They're rich. I don't care. I don't want to spend their money. I don't care. They're billionaires. They're still going to be able to make payments. I understand that. But they're all intertwined. That is why throughout the offseason I go, yeah, I think the Cardinals are in a spot for whatever reason. They're not saying they're in a spot. Now, maybe they're not in a spot, and by spot I mean a tough spot, because they used to be able to count on. I mean, imagine, I don't know. I mean, everybody's got clients in business. Imagine you lost your biggest client.
Yeah.
And I think in the case of the Cardinals, revenue stream wise, I think this was the equivalent of their second biggest client. The biggest client being attendance / concessions, two separate revenue streams, but obviously related. And if all of a sudden you lost it, or the client said, hey, we used to spend, we'll call it $100 for easy math purposes, but now we're going to only be able to spend $50, that would be a significant reduction, a 50% reduction. And so I don't think, now I could be wrong, but I don't think the Cardinals and a bunch of baseball teams for that matter, which is why I think you saw Snell and Montgomery and Bellinger linger out there. I don't think that was collusion. I think that was, holy crap, we've got a TV situation. The Cardinals go, we used to have $60 million we knew was coming in. Just for that was already done. The deal was signed years ago. We're halfway through this thing. Are we even going to be able to get 40? If you go that Apple TV route, and those numbers are not public for like MLS model, are you going to make $30 million if you're the organization from that? I would comfortably tell you absolutely not. And we can actually do some math to show how we would have to get there. Yeah. So I get the Apple TV MLS deal. And it's $75 for the year. Is that what it is?
Yeah, 80. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, all right, Jackson, you ready for it?
Yeah, I'd like some math.
Let's do it. Just to get to 30 million. 30 million. We'll do 30 million divided by 80. Is that fair? Because we're going to do the Apple TV thing.
Yep.
We're going to work with objective data here. That would mean 375,000 subscribers. Do you think that's going to happen?
No.
It's not going to happen.
It will not.
That's just to get to half of the number that they were expecting to get, and a greater number because it escalated over the course of the remaining years of the deal. That is why you have a problem. And so, with that established, this is a significant set of circumstances for a market the size of St. Louis and a baseball team that played, in part, a major role of their revenue, the television deal. And that is why I think they did all these short-term deals. That's the reasoning for it. And that is why you have a baseball team that's just kind of flopping around. It's all intertwined. 10:52 in St. Louis is a balloon party. Balloon Party 101 ESPN. Tim McKernan, Jackson Burkett, and Jackson now has his squirrel on a water ski question.
I sure do, Tim. Here we go. All right.
Is that the Warenberg thing?
It wasn't, but that was close. What is the sports equivalent of a ball writer or takesmith seeing a tweet with a sparsely attended sporting event without the context of the score or situation and then tweeting critical of the fan base? Is it like a middle changeup, a breakaway in hockey?
Oh, you know, I guess, what do they call this? Honesty and media or yuppie and the douchebag? What is it?
Let's go honesty and media.
Okay. When I see people engaging with that stuff, I go, oh, boy. I just feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, here's a picture. I have a void in my life. I will now try to upset people to fill that void. Well, I'm sitting around with nobody to talk to. Haven't really made a whole lot. Don't have anybody to have sex with. I'll yell at that person who I don't know who tweeted out a picture of an empty Busch Stadium. Yeah. And then Cubs fans and Royals fans will laugh at it. And they're not sleeping with anybody or making any money either. That's what I think.
Cultural rot.
You summed it up much quicker.
Cultural rot.
I just go,
See it?
I feel sorry for the people. That's what I do. I feel sorry for the people.
About once a month I see it. I imagine a ball rider, takesmith, an upward mobility takesmith sees it, and they just start shaking. Oh, I'm going to tweet something condescending with no context about this team.
You know what I say? Log off!
Touch grass.
Log off!
Yep.
It ain't real. You're all a bunch of puppets. You have your noses pressed in a world of Ask Jim Morrison, The Doors, Val Kilmer, Meg Ryan.
Bad.
Oh, that's bad. Is that
I
right?
thought that movie was bad. I love Val Kilmer, but bad.
Okay. You like him in Real Genius?
I like Val Kilmer in Heat.
Ah.
The action is the juice.
Tombstone.
Doc Holliday, I'm not your Huckleberry.
Thank you. All right, well, I guess we got to go, Jackson. BK and Ferrari are up next for Jackson Burkett. I'm Tim McKernan. This has been Balloon Party, driven by Munganass, St. Louis Acura, Munganass, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota on 101 ESPN.